It's not every day you get to have a real live panda on the show. Welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a Sports Ethos presentation. Hello to everybody out there on YouTube. Hello to everybody out there on Twitter. In fact, if you're watching on Twitter, which is easy and popular to do, head on over to YouTube. You can get a question or two in, and hopefully we can get to it on the show. Howdy, folks. We are T-minus, I don't know, it's the 11th today, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And that means we are probably 11 days away from NBA basketball. I know that because I haven't really slept much. We're just going around the clock here. But enough hemming and hawing. I would like to talk with our guest. I don't get to talk with him nearly enough. But before I get to talk with my guest, I'm contractually obligated to read you this read. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all things football. And I'm kidding, folks. I do like BetOnline. BetOnline has every stat, matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. And when the game's over, head on over to our online casino, get in a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots. Head to the website today and get in the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Yeah, no, seriously, I never get to talk to Panda, which sucks. This whole thing sucks. There's not enough hours in the day. You know, we're working around the clock, and I never get to talk with Panda. And Panda never gets to talk with you guys because he's always working, though. Panda, you did get to go overseas, I believe, right?
That is true. I'm back.
Yeah, where'd you go?
I went all the way to Taiwan.
Yeah, good man. That's something I will do next year. I'm gonna go
Solid
to
15-hour flight.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, we need a newfangled plane. I want one that, like, I'm sure Japan has invented a plane where like people are comfortable, but like kind of maybe in cylinders and like, you know, it's like super cramped, but like they made it really super smart and comfortable. I can't do the way it's set up right now. It just does not work for me. But it works for you, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you got back and forth, and you're here today.
I got to watch a bunch of movies, so
good stuff. Well, now that you're back, how is it being thrust into the fantasy basketball space and right in the middle of preseason draft season? Like, how are things going for you here at SportsEthos?
Pretty good. Doing some mock drafts. There's a slow mock draft happening as we speak that you guys will get to read about soon, but other than that, just working on articles and touching up various things around the site. I got to get in there and change some of the profiles again, all like 540 of them.
You're going to redo the profiles? That's dedication, sir.
Well, see, like the time shift for me was 12 hours. So I got the Karl Anthony Towns trade. I like opened my phone. I connected to Wi-Fi. I was like, let's see what's going on just to, what's happening. I was like, oh, that's significant. I didn't expect something that significant. Like I thought maybe, Matt Ryan would get waived, but no, it turns out I have to go in and adjust a bunch of stuff.
When you're on vacation, It's never Matt Ryan getting waived. It's half the league gets traded in a blockbuster deal.
Yeah. And all respect to Matt Ryan, by the way. That was a low blow.
Yeah. Why are you doing Matt Ryan like that?
I don't know.
I'm going to call Matt Ryan up and say that Panda's not a fan.
He's got 2 first names.
You can't, at your door.
Can't trust that.
You and I could talk forever because whenever we hold our meetings, like this is our meeting in a nutshell, folks, is we just go on and on and on like that. But we have viewers. Thank you guys for showing up, and they want to get their fantasy questions answered. And there's just a lot going on in fantasy leagues. I love this week. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, preseason doesn't mean anything. I've said that plenty of times. Preseason doesn't mean anything. It's, it's easy to get things blown out of proportion. But I actually think this week, I'm getting in there. I'm looking like at the really kind of nitty gritty technical stuff, and I'm trying to find edges on either like preseason, like preseason hunches, or something that they do that they show their hand a little bit. A lot of like rotations will get put into place by teams, but only for like 10 or 15 minutes. You can kind of tell where coaches are going with certain things. I love this week. I think this week really does. It's a separator kind of a week. Like if you know what you're doing in this week, you can get distance on things that aren't super obvious. And so that's why I love this week. So as we get into the fantasy, so we descend into some fantasy stuff here. We're going to go super broad real quick. Maybe relate this to the work you're doing inside of the draft guide with player profiles work, especially, but I know we've kind of moved past player profiles to some degree. We've kind of gotten into a bunch of other pieces, like your sleepers piece. Your sleepers piece was released, and also it is just dominant. I love the fact that you track your work. I love the fact that it's just crushed every single year for like the last however many years you've been doing this. But how do you, we got a lot of folks that play one or the other out there. They're like head-to-head people or they're roto people. Maybe somebody dabbles in both, but like, how much difference are you putting into your analysis for like head-to-head versus roto?
Well, for me, honestly, I try to approach both the same. It's more like in-season stuff where I'll differ, but I know head-to-head, a lot of people choose to punt, and I try not to unless I can avoid it. I mean, naturally, you have like one or two categories where you're weaker in, but there's almost never a situation where I'm like, I'm just not going to compete in X, Y, Z because I feel like that's just leaving money on the table. And obviously, you can do it, right? Like if you do that and you're really good in the other six, then you win 6-3 every week. So it works. I just think that in a league with competent drafters, it's really hard to punt and swing that where you do get those 6 wins or even 5 wins. So for me, my strategy has always been to build a balanced team and try to be versatile enough to say, okay, this week I can beat the teams that are punting ABC, and then next week I'll be able to beat the teams that are punting XYZ. So for me, I've always liked to have a roster that can do a little bit of everything, and I just think it makes the in-season stuff a little more flexible as well. You can kind of pick and choose which categories you're trying to win every week, rather than at the start kind of locking yourself into like these are my 5 or 6 that I need to win. So as far as the draft goes, they're pretty similar for me. The in-season stuff is really where it gets different in terms of being responsible with using your roto games. Not having a full lineup every night that it's available to you at the start, just to kind of let the core of your roster set things up for you. And then like a third of the way through, you can start thinking about, all right, these are the guys that have sort of earned the every night spot. And then these are the categories where I need to make up ground. So either, start trading, start adding guys off the wire selectively, things like that. But as far as actually putting the team together, I try to maintain a balanced squad no matter what. So for me personally, not too much on draft day. It's just really about, picking and choosing who you're going to start in Roto.
We're talking with Mike Passador, managing editor of the NBA coverage over here at SportsEthos. And if you're looking on screen, if you're looking live, first of all, you've watched me fumble around with the background here. You've watched me knock things off my desk. What I really wanted is I wanted everybody to see my Lightning McQueen shirt.
Nice. Ka-chow.
Super proud of. Ka-chow, exactly. Making people feel things they didn't know they could feel. If you know, you know. But yeah, no. And
is that Lightning McQueen from the Gritty reboot or
no?
Lightning
First
Classic?
of all, the Pixar studio doesn't even acknowledge the second one exists because they're running around shooting guns at each other. And
cool.
that probably wasn't okay for a kids movie. And then it was also really bad. But in one, that's when that quote comes from. Cars 3 is my favorite. It's got a lot going on, but I digress. And the question, head to head or roto, to kind of bring it back to basketball and not my shirt, is really interesting because there's been a lot of like a push, I would say, in the industry over the last like year or two to really dive into punting, like almost as if it's like the end all be all. And I've been fairly uncomfortable with advising people to do that through the years because I've been a balance guy. I'm probably more of a balance guy than some of the head-to-head players that are on this show. Like Rick's definitely, I think, like he doesn't care as much about percentages. I don't think Doc cares as much about percentages as I do. But they are actually balanced guys. That was actually surprising to me based on the way that I've watched them play through the years. But given the amount of push towards you got to punt, you got to match this player with that player, and coming up with these kind of like pre-canned determined strategies, I think it's tough. I think it's like almost not a disservice, but like you're cutting the player pool down. And then in addition to that, you could have other GMs that are drafting against you having the same exact strategy as you. So if you're going with like a classic punt free throw and you're just banking you're going to get all of those guys, somebody else swoops them up and your strategy might be half baked, and
Yeah.
then as you go through the year, you suffer an injury. Now your strategy, the players that were valuable to you previously might not be valuable to you anymore. And you're shopping in a limited bucket of players. So I'm glad to hear you say balance. Our last few guests, Kayla Fonte was a balance gal. Noah Rubin was a balanced guy. Doc and Rick were balanced guys, and that makes me feel better because I'm like, am I missing something here? Do we have to punt in order to win? And I do think that you probably can punt and win. It's just interesting stuff. And what do you think about like risks? Obviously somebody that might not play at the end of the season is going to suffer more in a head-to-head league, but like Joel Embiid, for example, like, would you be more comfortable with him in Roto because you could just sort of harness that value?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you get whatever you get out of him, and then it's not like, missing him is going to result in like your opponent getting so many more games anyway, just because of the games cap. So at the end of the day, you're both arriving at the same final number. And to me, it's kind of like, all right, I get whatever I get from Embiid plus whatever I get from his fill-in. And in head-to-head, there's sort of like no limit as to what you get from, the player you draft plus whoever you stream throughout the year. So just kind of having that artificial ceiling on everybody, definitely, I think it makes more sense to try and maximize the results you get out of each individual game in that slot. So yeah, I'm more willing to dance with the devil, I suppose.
Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight, talking with Mike Passador, 2-time 30 deep champion. You're a 2-time 30 deep champion in what, 5 years of playing in that league, sir?
6 or 7, I don't know.
6 or 7. And what was what how much strategy were you putting into those drafts to try to target players at the ends of seasons that would be successful in playoff formats? Or because of the size of the league, was it just too hard to kind of even do that?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. For me, those drafts, the really big drafts, are just about not screwing up. So I kind of let all you guys draft for me, and then whatever the best value is when it's my turn to pick is just what I pick. And that's the other thing with a league that big is that, you sort of end up punting whether you like it or not, just because stats are so thinned out. But it only takes like one guy to get you competitive in certain categories. So like Miles Turner can help you win blocks in a week in a 30-team league, just because there will be teams that like don't have any blocks at all. So for me, a balanced approach is really good there, just because some teams will be so light that you end up winning kind of on accident. So just be mindful of that as you go through if you're in a deep league. But as far as like planning for, oh my God, this guy might sit, this guy might not, I don't know. If I could predict that stuff, I promise you I would be doing something else. If I could see the future like that, I would definitely be
printing sports almanacs.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm told, and we're just sort of whetting the appetite, letting you guys file into the room, so to speak. We're going to go player by player analysis real soon here. I can't think of anybody better to do it with. I think like literally Mike, just for those of you who don't know, like it's very hard to find somebody who knows more about basketball than Mike Passador. It's very hard to find somebody who writes better about basketball than Mike Passador. It's just a treat to have you on staff, for one, but just also like in general to talk basketball with somebody who's got that level of knowledge. And we're going to get to player by player analysis here real quick, but we're going to do it after Ice Pick in Your Eye trivia. Andre's in my ear yelling at me, trying to tell me we got to do Ice Pick in Your Eye trivia. And it's probably because he has a great trivia question. You guys can play along in the chat and see if you can beat us. I mean, we are not exactly world-class trivia people, me, Doc, and maybe Rick is. I think Rick's a good trivia guy. Like for me, it's like once I learn about it this season, I just dump it out of my brain and I forget it. I don't even. Who won the NBA championship last year? Go Brew, go. I don't even know.
It was canceled, I believe. The championship, the season was redacted.
They said it didn't happen. Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
we saw the finals matchup, and everyone collectively decided I don't want to watch that, so it doesn't count.
Andre's really excited about this question. Today's question is: Dennis Rodman ranks number 1, 2, 3, and 4 for most rebounds in a game without scoring. Wow. That's impressive. With 28, 25, 24, and 21 rebounds in those games. Who ranks number 5? This is why I wanted to go. Who ranks number 5 with 20 rebounds and 0 points? Keep in mind, Rodman isn't a valid answer despite him doing it 3 times. 4 other players have achieved this. Name one of them. So 4 players have gone 0 points, 20 rebounds. You get to go first, Mike. After each round, we'll give you a year when each of those players did it. So that's giving us a hint about the tip.
All right. Bismack Biyombo.
It's funny. I could easily be right. But it's not right.
You can buzz me all you want. I'm guessing Bismack Biyombo every time.
I love it when you get sassy, Panda.
That's right. I know I'm right in my heart, so it doesn't matter what you say.
God, I love it. I love having you on here. Okay. I wonder if it's somebody that I either talked about on air or just randomly with Andre the other day, but he would remember that, and he would then not want to use that, I think, because it's probably a good ploy to get me to say the wrong answer. I'm gaming this out in my head. Anyway, I'm going to go with Jordan Goodwin because I believe I said on air he had 20 rebounds. No, that buzzer came super quick, super fast. All right, I believe we're going to get a year here. Here comes the tip.
I'm not guessing this player. I promise you that right now.
You're not?
No, I'm not guessing this based off the tip. We're going to remember some guys, and I'm going to say Greg Ostertag.
You're just refusing the help.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Now, Andre, really, you've now hurt Andre's feelings, and I think he works hard on these tips, and you eschew his knowledge. That's bad karma, brother. Bad karma. Okay, so but I didn't see the tip. What's the tip? But seriously, where's the tip? Oh, it's on screen. One of the players did it in 73 with the Lakers. Okay, tip's on screen here. Did it in 73? Somebody says Wilt, ? That's probably not the answer because that would be feeding me the answer. In 73, this is where Doc would shine. Doc and Rick would have this, no questions asked. That's not helpful at all. So I'm just going to ignore that you even said that. Andre, we're getting good answers on screen. Ben Wallace comes up. Lorenzo Martinez, shout out. Thank you for helping out here. I would think that that's a good one. Andre Drummond just showed up. That's Pokey Marquette. We got Jerry West. I wondered about Jerry West. I wondered if Jerry West get loose one day and he's like, I'm going to go get 20 boards and not score. Yeah, I know. I want to go with I'll go Andre Drummond, the greatest rebounder of all time. Andre Drummond. Yeah. rebounds in a game.
He likes shooting too much for that.
I was going to say, yeah. And honestly, that fast break last season should probably be discussed way more than it's been discussed. Second player did it in 74 with the Warriors. Oh, that's really...
How old do you think I am, Andre?
72. You're 72, Panda.
That's right.
Andre assures us it will get better. It never gets better.
Again, I want to guess without the hint. I want to take a shot at one of the other guys, and I'm going to guess Samuel Dallenberg.
Oh, my God. That's a great guess.
No!
Just to hear Samuel Dallenberg's name on air in this year of 2024. Okay. It's a good guess. 74 with the Warriors. Like I'm a Warriors fan, but obviously I was not alive in 74. Obviously, right, people? Obviously. Muggsy Bogues is a guess. You know, he's sneaky. He could just get in there and steal him. 74 with the Warriors. It's like why I don't know why the name Al Attles is coming to mind, but was he a great Sacramento King? I don't know. Any good rebounder doesn't think of the date. That is the answer. No, that's not my answer. I don't even know if he's a player, to be honest. Rick Barry. Give me Rick Barry, but he's too much of a ball hog. I just buzz me off the screen. Are you going to use the tip, Panda?
The 74 Warriors?
Well, the next one's 06 with Denver.
Huh. Chris Anderson. I don't know if the years are right, but Birdman.
The year's definitely not right.
Yeah. I didn't think long enough. I just shoot or shoot.
Birdman. Okay. 06 Denver. I started really covering the league in 08. That's not helpful here, is it? I need the crowd to help me out here. I really do. Nene, that's a kind of good one. He was just getting started, I want to say, around 08 in Denver. I don't know if he could get 20 boards in a game, though. I need to get off of it. Like, Andre's tips are just not helping here. And I need to get to just who the hell rebounds a lot and doesn't score.
Lorenzo took my guess.
What did he take? Oh, Nene? Was Nene your guess? I'm going to go Nene. Let's keep the show moving. I'll go Nene.
Oh.
Hey,
Okay,
the
06
delayed.
Nuggets.
Okay. 07 with Denver, and then 2012 with the Blazers.
Well, hold on. All right, now hold on.
Now you're listening.
Yeah.
07 with Denver. In 2012 with the Blazers. Like, that Blazers team was really young for a long time. There's no way it's the guy.
Oh, who was that guy?
Pokey says no one remembers Rebounders. You're saying that nobody's going to remember Andre Drummond in 10 years? They'll remember his fast break. That's for sure.
Denver and Portland.
You got this.
I don't have this. Don't reverse psychology me. Andre's trying to be polite in the chat, everybody, and it's
that polite Andre.
Portland and Denver, 06 Denver. Oh my God, who was that guy? I'm trying to remember some guys. Who was that guy? So these are the four, right? We now have hints for all four?
We do have hints for all four. 07 with Denver and 2012 with the Blazers.
See, now I'm forgetting this and going back to the earlier hints.
I want to ask Andre why
is
no
one of them
why
Nate
no
Thurmond?
Giannis and Tita. You might have an answer there, but no shot clock for like what's up, Andre? I get a shot clock literally immediately. You go Nate Thurmond?
I'm guessing Nate Thurmond for the Warriors hint.
Okay, Nate Thurmond. That is a
Wow.
no. All right. So the Blazers in 2012 had a 20 rebound game. So the only Myers Leonard? No, he wasn't with Denver though. Whatever. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumb. That's dumb. Oh, Andre. You're gonna give us another try.
All right.
You give us another try? Apparently, we're gonna just sit here and die on air.
That's okay.
I'm gonna go over here and take a nap, and I'll be back when
George
this
Mikan's
segment's over.
too old.
Okay, so there are clues flying around the chat like left and right. I know Myers was a kid in 07. Thank you. I honestly I'm not good at this. This is not my game.
2006 Nuggets.
Yeah, it feels like you're checking the internet.
No.
JJ Hickson. That's a great reference.
Whoa. Whoa. JJ Hickson.
JJ Hickson has entered the chat, folks.
Yeah.
Don't ask the Sacramento
He's no
Kings
DeJuan
fans
Blair,
about that one.
2006 Nuggets. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm surprised Andre doesn't have a shot clock on you.
I mean, I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah.
I need like a worse version of like Anderson Varejao that played in the Western Conference is what I'm trying to think of, and I coming up empty. I already burned the Greg Ostertag card.
I just can't. And look at it on Andre's clues here.
2006 Denver Nuggets, Linus Kleza.
Luke Babbitt.
Josh McRoberts.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, it's not.
It's Ryan Anderson. Oh,
Uncle.
Yeah, Uncle's
Good
got
one,
it
Uncle.
right. Yeah, Marcus Camby. That's got to be the answer right there. 07, Marcus Camby with Denver. Reggie Evans. Ooh, there's a good one.
We love Reggie Evans.
Clyde Lee in 74. There was Happy Hairston. How the hell were we going to get Happy Hairston?
And then obviously, of course, Bismack Biyombo.
Did anybody out in the chat know who Happy Hairston is? That's a great name, though. Happy Hairston. Okay. Shout out to Pokey Marquette. You got Marcus Camby. That's correct. Good job. You're a better man than I. Boudwin, if I'm getting that right. You got it right as well. Uncle, you got it right. And wow. Boudwin, you're either on the internet or you know a lot about basketball. That's great stuff right there. The Reggie Evans answer as well. Okay. All right. Let's get into the nuts and bolts fantasy stuff. All right. Who are we drafting? Let's go right to the top of the list. Are you taking Wemby or are you taking Jokic?
Does this assume I have pick number one?
This assumes you have pick number one.
Daily League, Wemby. Weekly League, Jokic.
Daily League, Wemby. Weekly League, Jokic. Okay. All right. What's the thought process there? I mean, you view these two so close that that's the tiebreaker?
Yeah, and even then I could change it like when I'm drafting, but Jokic just feels like I don't have to think about ever, which is really nice in a weekly league. Like I could just leave him in there and not think about it. Whereas Wemby, I do think that maybe late in the season, if they're like out of it or if they're locked into like 9th or 10th or whatever, that maybe he gets a night off here and there. But I don't know. You're splitting hairs. Can't go wrong. Do whatever makes you happy.
Hairston, Happy Hairston. How was Andre thinking we were ever going to get that? I wonder. So the Devin Vassell injury started making me kind of think maybe San Antonio's got more likelihood of tanking, but it sounds like that injury is not quite as bad. And I just think like the bottom of the league is actually not bad. Like there are some teams that are projected to go, 30 wins, that ballpark, high 30 wins, and they look really good. And so I don't know if San Antonio is going to be able to tank. Like I think they're going to win games. Yep. And so that bodes well for Wemby. This question's been really interesting. And I think when the season starts, I might weigh in a little bit more on it. Or you can read the Brewski 150, yada, yada, yada. How about Luka versus SGA?
Well, we just did the fantasy face-off where Keston, I gave him the choice. It was a mistake. He picked SGA, and that's also my pick, but I wrote up the Luka side.
How was that?
It was good. I mean, Luka gives you the bigger base and more of the counting stats, and I think because I personally have some questions about like if his free throw percentage in particular is going to stay slightly above average given his track record. Taking Luka kind of lets you pick a little more freely because if his free throws go bad, then it's like, all right, then I guess I'm not really competing in that category anyway. So it doesn't preclude me from taking a couple negative free throw shooters down the line if I feel like it. Whereas with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, every sort of pick that you take is dragging down his percentage starts because he's the top guy. So sort of halfway through the draft, you have to start mentally accounting for like, all right, do I have too many guys that are going to turn me into like a middle of the pack team in the percentages? Just because the counting stats always count up. Percentages when you start at the top always come down no matter who you add. So that was my case for Luka, but if it was my choice, I would take SGA because I do think his anchoring in the percentages is just like super important. And the percentages are really sort of the two categories that you can't stream your way out of. You kind of have to get lucky. So that's just my thought process. I feel more secure in two categories that someone can't just brute force me on if I take SGA. So that would be my personal pick.
You get a taste there, folks, of why you want Mike Passador on your squad and why you want to listen to Mike Passador all season long inside of the Fantasy Pass. You're just dealing with another level here. Let's touch on some deep league stuff going on. That's actually kind of juicy. Dante Exum is out for 3 months. Does that in a deep league, and again, keeping in mind, folks, this is a man who's written 525 player profiles, covers the league from front to back. Who's the winners out of that situation for deep league GMs?
Nobody? I don't know. I guess Spencer Dinwiddie.
I was looking at Dinwiddie the other day and thinking, I bet he's going to get some more minutes in production than most people would think.
The loser will be me because people are going to ask about Jaden Hardy.
Yeah, and what do you think about Najee Marshall?
I like Najee Marshall. I don't know if Exum's injury is going to give him too much more, but I think he's a good player. Fantasy-wise, I mean, if you're going like 250 players deep, then, maybe. But no overarching if I was talking to a regular person, I would have no thoughts. Since I'm talking to you, I have those two thoughts.
Okay, what about Ryan Dunn in Phoenix? Like,
love Ryan Dunn.
Steals
and blocks, man. I mean, it's funny. Like someone's gone into a lab and created a Matisse Thybulle who shoots even worse. Like that's a cruel joke from above. But
did you know Ryan Dunn's parents are on the pod or on the show right now?
Mr. and Mrs. Dunn.
I'd like to introduce you guys to Panda.
Yeah. The curtain drops behind you, and then it's the Dunn family.
Pretty much. They're standing right behind the background here.
This is Jerry Springer.
I'm more of a Maury kind of a guy.
So, fun fact, they filmed out of the same studio.
Imagine being the janitor at that show.
Well, and if you go, you do get a free breakfast, and I say that from firsthand experience. But that's another story for another
show,
day.
Huh? Oh my!
Yeah, I did. I had a friend in Stanford, and he's like, "Do you want to go?" I was like, "Sure, I'll take a Monday off. I got no problem with it. Why not? It's free, right?" So it was eye opening. But Ryan Dunn, good player. I'm all about it. He's actually in.
How hot was the shower you took out? show.
Yeah. No, I sat in the back. It was all good. Um,
Yeah.
but
Anyway, Ryan Dunn.
yeah, Ryan Dunn is
Parents
actually in
not
the
behind the
sleeper article.
background.
So
No, but
big fan.
okay. How high can he climb?
Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't surprise me if he got into the top 200. And then from there, it kind of gets dicey. But like the Suns have sort of reordered the roster in a way that makes sense. Like they now have a point guard to keep things moving. They now have a lot of versatility to take Nurkic off the floor if they feel like it. So like between Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen and Ryan Dunn, you have three pretty helpful defenders that can sort of be the sand around the big rocks in the bucket for that team. So I don't know. I think he's going to end up playing, especially after last year when the Suns like signed 8 guys for the veteran minimum and they all ended up being bad. Now they've actually committed to filling out the roster with players that might not be bad. So I just think Ryan Dunn's going to be too helpful for them to totally wash out, even if he can't shoot. And hopefully shooting is not a problem given the other personnel they can put on the floor. He absolutely fits in all the small lineups they might want to run. And like, even if it's only for 12 minutes a night, he's going to get some steals and blocks. So top 200, I think, is kind of the ceiling, but that's pretty darn good. And anyone like really competing in steals and blocks should pay attention.
We have about 2 more minutes left for this show, and you're a resident Toronto Raptors expert / fan. What's your spicy Toronto Raptors take?
You're winning it all, baby.
What did you think about their real take time?
What?
Yeah, real take time. Like honestly, like what did you think about Jakob Pertl's comments the other day? Was that just like saying the quiet part very out loud?
Well, what did he say? I just got back from overseas.
Okay. To paraphrase, he basically is like, well, we're not really trying to win games here.
Well, I mean, Masai even said, he goes, yeah, we are rebuilding. Like, once he says it, it's like everyone's free to say it. So it doesn't shock me.
It's an interesting. I bet you he got a talking to by somebody after the comments because it was just like a little too obvious, and you can't just say that outright. I mean, we say it in like dynasty formats. I'm tanking.
Yeah.
You
No, I mean, I think that team is going to be slightly too competent to like tank unless they like really try to do it on purpose. I mean, when they first brought in Pirtle, obviously the roster core was different, but as soon as they added a real center, like I think they went like 15-11 with him in the lineup to end that season. And then last year, obviously there was a lot of change, but they kind of fixed the guard problem, and now they have a roster that makes some sense. So as long as people don't get hurt and they don't just start ripping guys out of the lineup for no reason in like January, I think that they're going to be above the basement.
In the mix for the plan.
Yeah, like maybe like somewhere between 10th and 12th.
So you won't be like running the other direction from Emmanuel Quickly or
No.
Barrett, assuming you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Scotty Barnes. What do you think about, last thing before we get out of here, Scotty Barnes? How excited are you about Scotty Barnes?
Well, he's got a sick afro now, so pretty darn excited. He's looking fly, and it's going to be good.
This is exactly what I wanted to get out of you. Right.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, obviously,
as a basketball fan, that makes me like Pirtle more, to be honest. It's like honesty.
Yeah,
it's important. Who would have thought that honesty was important? Oh my God.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he would probably go back and phrase that differently, but I think they understand that the goal is not to like win the title, but I think they'll be better than the very worst.
Scotty Barnes big season. Like, are you happy with his ADP? Is weird. It's like kind of like all over the place, but it's like at 18. I saw the other day.
Like sort of as a rule, I hate pretty much everybody that gets picked in the second round because the first round are guys that are really good, and then the second round is like, oh, these guys are really good last year, they could be even better, and it's like, but what if they don't? And then you end up with a guy who finishes like 45th at pick 17. So my overall rule is I hate the second round. If I could draft none of them, I would. If I could trade my second round pick for 2/3, I would. But that's just how I like to draft. But in the second round, Scotty's as good as anybody else, aside from like the 12, 13, 14 area. And even then, like
So you don't like him in the 12, 13, 14 area. You like him.
I mean, at that
further
point, I
south.
could, because I think I like him more than like 15 through 23. But that's just personal stuff getting in there, right? So
Have you
it
seen
feels
a
like to me,
therapist
everyone
about
in the
that yet?
second round is being drafted to be at their very best, and for a lot of them, it's at a level that we haven't seen yet. So there's just a little more uncertainty with that whole crop than I personally would like
I
with
want
such a
one
high
question
pick.
before I
But yeah,
play the music and boo you off the stage. Is are you going to draft LaMelo Ball this year?
sure, why not?
For real?
Yeah, sure. If it happens, if he falls to me,
But yeah. This is where the devil's in the details.
yeah.
What does that mean? Like,
I'm fine with it in the third round or the end of the second, because like the second round is just a minefield anyway. So why not go for the guy who might finish top 10 if you get lucky?
I love it. I love it. Okay. Everybody, if you want to follow Mike Passador, you really should. And we try to drag him out on a Twitter, but I'm pretty sure you're like allergic to Twitter, right? Like you will actually get hives if you.
I log in like once every 3 or 4 months just to see what I'm missing, and the last 3 4 times I've done it, I haven't been missing very much. I got to be honest with you.
It's
A
a,
lot of lot of things there that I wish I hadn't read to begin with. So
yeah, but he's inside of the NBA Fantasy Pass, and that's great news. And so, if you guys want to get more info from Panda, that's a great place to do it on our Discord channel.
yeah,
And
read the
just
articles,
in
yell at me.
general, and read the articles. They're the best thing I've ever seen written, honestly. And I don't say that lightly. It's a pleasure to have you doing what you do for us. And folks, if you do want to follow somebody that's not on Twitter, it's Mike_Pandador, Pandador, unless you deactivated your account.
No, it's still up.
Good. People can follow you and watch you not tweet. And that's going to do it for this show here today. Big shout out to Andre for your ridiculous trivia question, like ridiculous.
Shout out to Reggie
Capital
Evans as well.
R. Yeah. Samuel Dallenbert and
And
JJ
Chuck Hayes,
Hickson
while we're
and
here. Chuck Hayes, the Chuck Wagon.
the Chuck
We miss
Wagon.
you, buddy.
Oh, the Chuck Wagon. Why are you listing Sacramento Kings players of late Malufian fame? Big shout out to our sponsor Bet Online, and this has been a Bet Online presentation presented by SportsEthos. That's going to do it for us, folks. We do got to get out of here. It's a big weekend with the B150. A huge update coming here very soon. And check out sportsethos.com. Check out the All Sport Pass. Get you access to the B150. It's only $1 more than the NBA Fantasy Pass. So get our good NFL and MLB stuff. These guys are really, really working hard. That is a major thing. It's one thing to just kind of fling stuff around social media, but to actually create work product and create an ecosystem where you guys can count on having value day after day. I love what the NFL and the MLB guys are doing. They're just doing it the right way. They're earning their keep, so to speak. And so if you have an all sport pass, you're getting those other sports. You're also getting the B150 this weekend. And we're doing a huge update this weekend. I'm just basically, as I'm going to get done with the show, I'm getting back in the lab and breaking down a bunch of film from the preseason games over the last few weeks. So we're going to have to run here, but check out the website. Thank you guys all for your support. And that's going to do it for us, as I say that for the 5 millionth time, because I don't want to leave. I want to stay and talk all day, but we've got work to do here. So enjoy your weekends. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by Bet Online and SportsEthos. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, be well.
Thank you, Chuck Hayes.
Thank you, Chuck.